Hello. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about these lights you see on my desk. Basically, they're from I got them from AliExpress, and each one of these lights they have like a little circuit board in there with a chip called the WS2811. They're 5 volts, and this is an RGB light, so red, green, and blue, and they're addressable. So which means what happens is the whole string of lights, you can actually talk to anyone or all of them at the same time, these LEDs. So what's neat about them is that the way they're connected to each other is just 3 wires, a positive, ground, and a data. So the reason I bought these lights is because one of my panel decoders I've been using in the past is the Team Digital decoders, and what happens is with those ones, the LEDs, when you connect the LEDs to the panel, basically I run a comment for all the LEDs, and then the other side of the LED goes to a pin on the board. So what happens is, let's say I have 30 LEDs on the panel, then I need a comment and 30 wires, so 31 wires all go to the printed circuit board. But in this case, if you use these type of lights, what happens is you only have, this one wire it's going to this panel here. It's 3 wires. So, and that's using the panel decoder board from another company called Mulhem, MOLLEHEM.SE. So they're a Swedish company. I'll put a link to their website. So I've been testing their decoder, and you've seen it in the previous video. And what's neat is they use this technology where they use the WS2811 chipset. So you can buy those these LEDs. You can also get them on like a long strip, like LED lighting, or you peel off. It's a white strip, and the LEDs are about every 2 inches or so apart, and you cut the length you want, and you can stick them on the board, make a panel that way. But what's neat about these ones is they actually have a bit of a if you could see, let me see closer here. What happens is, you see they have a little lip type thing, and basically what you do is you drill a hole. Let's say you make your panel, then you drill a hole, and then you pop these through. So you'll have an RGB, so it'll be red, green, or blue. So that's how that will look. And so the thing is, the option for on their website at molehem.se, they have 2 options to connect the LEDs. One of them is, you can see, let me see, I'll put this board here, is to use this type of board here, this connector. And what happens is it has those chips underneath here, and then you have a 16 pin connector over here. So basically this controls 12 LEDs, because you have 4 positives and then 3 pins for each RGB light. So what you do is they give you a connector that you plug in there, like a ribbon connector, and now you wire that to the LEDs. So basically every group of 12 LEDs comes to a board like this, and like I said, the serial connection comes, let's say, into the board, goes to those guys, gets the information there, comes out, plugs into the next board, comes out, goes to the next board, and daisy chains like that up to 64 LEDs is what that one board will support. So the first board you connect is 1 to 12, and the other one is 13, and then 12 up to 12 more, and then so forth, and up to 60 until you have 64 LEDs. So this is one option of wiring up the LEDs, and then their other option is to use a tiny little board, which I have. See these lights, like you see here. What I actually did, I took one apart. So basically what you do is you're getting this tiny little board here. Let me put, I'm not sure that'll focus. But basically you have this tiny little board, and it has the 3 wires, and on the one side, see the way they're connected is they go into one light and then out and then to the next light. So they daisy chain all across. So they sell you these independent little circuit boards like this one here, and then you can connect 3 LEDs. So you have a common, and then you have 3 other pins for, let's say, if you want red, green, and yellow LEDs. or you can use bicolor LEDs or whatever. In this case, this is RGB LED, so the one LED will turn either red, green, or blue, and any color in between if you want to play around with. I'm not sure if you can. No, I don't think you can play around with the colors. But I'll give you an example of these LEDs to show you how that works. So anyway, like I said, they sell these boards independently, or in my case, you know, for I think it was like $5 or something, I got this whole string of 50 LEDs. So basically, to wire up to this MGP board, what happens is you can connect a maximum of 21 lights, because each light does 3 colors, right? So basically each LED is a RGB, so it's 3 lights basically in one. So since the board can control up to 65 lights, you have 21 of these LEDs times 3, because there's 3 colors, is 64. Yeah, and then you have 1 extra. So if I had a 20-second light, I would only be able to turn on like the 1 color, let's say red, and not have the other color. So basically you have a total of 3 times 12. No. How many is on there? 20, yeah, sorry. 21. 21 times 3. 63. And then an extra 1, 64. Yeah, that becomes your 64. Did I say 65 lights or 64 lights? I think it's 64 lights. Yeah, 64 lights. So I'll show you how I turn on the light. So what I do is in the program, you set the address for the output for every LEDs. So in the case of the way I did is I actually addressed them address 501 for the first light, all the way to 560. Let me see here, 564 for the last light. So when you trigger the light, in my case, the way I set it up is I say 501 close. So if I say 501 close and I click send, the first light on the chain, see, turns red. If I say 501 throw, the light goes out. If I say 502, let's say 502 close, now the light, that's green. If the camera is picking up properly, that's green. Then 502 throw, send the throw command, and it goes off. Type in 503, 503 close, the light went blue. 503 throw, the light goes off. If I use, I'm not sure if the camera will pick this up, but let's say I say 503, we'll turn on the blue again. So we'll say 503 close, the blue is on, and now I say, instead of turning it off, I'll say 502, turn that one on. What happens is the RGB, the second light, actually turned on. So now technically you have 2 lights that are turned on, so you'll see the brightness is different. And if I add 501 close, see, now it turned a bit of different, it's almost like a purplish color. So I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up. So we'll see the difference. If I do, let's say I'll turn off 501 throw. See, it actually changed. Now I'll take 502. So now I'm turning off the second light. There you go. And now 503 throw, turned off that light. So like I said, each LED, each one of these is 3 lights. So that's how it works. And let's say if you want the last light in the string to turn on, I think it's 560, yeah, 564. So if I trigger 564 close, I say send, .563 close, yeah, so it's 563. We'll turn on the blue, throw, turns it off. 562, 562, close, turned it green, throw to turn it off, and 561. 561, close, turns it red. So now if I wanted to, let's say, turn on the, so when you start to building your panel, you know, let's say you want multiple lights on at the same time. So we'll go back to, you know, 501. So now if I type in 504, close, that one goes red. 507, close, that one goes red. 510, close, and so forth. See, so what happens is as I jump by threes, the third light goes on to whatever. If I say instead of 5, let's say I'll say 514, see that light turned on green, this light here. I can turn them off and say 513, close, see, turns on red. And the next one I could say say 517, close. This one's turning on green. So you can play around with any lights, turn them on any of the three colors, or like I said, a combination of colors, and then but the combination of color will give you like a light green or a light blue or a light red. So you have to kind of figure out you know, if you want to use those colors. But the best thing is, you know, RGB. So you, again, like I said, is you create a, you know, panel. You could put your LEDs in the panels. You know, some will be off, some will be on, and it's all working through this 3-string of wire. Which that string of wire ended up costing, like I said, $5. Your other option is, like I said, is say what I showed you earlier. Is I cut off all the plastic, and I ended up getting just a little circuit board. Where did I put that one? Yeah, this little thing down here. So, you know, you can individually wire that up to 3 LEDs. So what happens is you can put at your panel, you can have an LED, 3 LEDs, then wire them to this little guy, and then from this guy he goes, you know, then you'll daisy chain this to the next board like that, and then this guy you'll take them apart and put 3 LEDs instead of the one RGB LED, and so forth. So it kind of reduces a lot of the wiring, and yet you can still independently turn on any one of the lights, any one of the 3 colors, and that's good for the panel decoders. They also use the same type of technology with their signal decoders. So basically what they do is they have one of these boards, these tiny little boards, and if you go to the website, they have HO and N scale signals. So the signal has this little board in it, and then here it's a post, and then you have your 3 LEDs, or in some case, I think they have 4. So you buy the little stands, and you wire them up. You know, so one board could be daisy chained along your layout, so you'll have 3 wires. Again, the positive, ground, and the data going from one post to the next post. Then it'll come to the panel, and you can work that out. But like I said, you have to now daisy chain all those wires. But it's a lot easier than having all these wires going all to some crazy place. The way I'm doing it is I'm using these Digitrax SMBK signals, and I made a homemade SHD2. So this one gets the DCC signal. So basically, DCC signal is bringing power, and the DCC signal for the light. So the chip has a program with its own address. So basically, what I do is I drill a hole in the layout, and I shove this through, so it's only sticking out through a layout like that. So what happens is I can control these, the 6 colors and flashing. They can be flashing yellow, flashing red, flashing green, red, yellow, and green. Yeah. So and there's actually what they call a lunar connection. So even if you wanted to add another light to it, 2 more lights, you could, because this board controls 8 lights. But what's neat about this one is here you're only jumping 2 wires from one post, from one of these boards to the next post, but each one has its own address. So it's not like it's going to this is the whole thing is the decoder. So from your command station, you type in the address, you're actually talking directly to this. Whereas these lights, what happens is they're all connected to that one board, and that board talks to these. So they don't have individual. These LEDs don't have individual addresses per se, like a DCC address, when you could say, okay, turn on this LED. Let's say address 562. You say turn it on. You can't talk directly to it. You have to talk to that central board. Whereas these are DCC signals. So they have an address. You talk directly to it. You give it throw or close, and it'll operate the lights properly. So hopefully that's not too confusing. If you have any questions, let me know, or else check out some of my other videos, and I have these installed. So what's nice is I got these, like I said, I got these LEDs today. I've been playing around with them. They're 10 millimeters, I think 8. I'm not sure if the LED is 8 millimeters, and then the outside part frame is 12, or it's 10. Yeah, 8 and 10, or 10 and 12 millimeters. But that's a big LED. So the thing is, if you want panels, if you have bad eyesight and you want big LEDs in your panels, well, then maybe you could use these ones. Otherwise, you can, like I said, buy the tiny little boards, or install these type of boards, like I said, and put in your own LEDs, wire up to these boards. So you have a lot of possibilities. So just wanted to show you how that works, and I'll make another video in the future of showing how to program the boards. So thanks for listening. Bye bye.